I want to encourage us as we enter into the holiday season to keep something at the forefront of our minds. We're going to get in the hustle and bustle of all the things that need to be done and the Christmas parties and the gifts and all the things. And again, so thankful that we get to do this and celebrate with our family and our friends and our church family. But one of the things I want to encourage us is to keep this in the forefront of our minds. Those who are serving on the front lines for the gospel, those who are serving in the nations and some of the most remote places, the hardest places, and some of them, they won't get to come back for the holidays. And they stay there and they serve those among them. And I'm just reminded of what Paul says in the book of Colossians. He says this in chapter 1. He says, all over the world, this gospel is bearing fruit and growing, just as it has been doing among you since the day you heard it and understood God's grace and all its truth. The gospel is good news, like all across the globe. So keep your eyes up and pray for those who are serving, again, on those front lines. I was reminded of a story. In early 2024, I got a chance to go to India and got a chance to go up into kind of a remote village up in the mountains that it was an unreached people group that had never heard the gospel. And so as we were walking around this small village, ran into a gal named Lechima. And Lechima she was gardening, tending to her own little kind of garden that she was growing her own fruits and vegetables in. And she looked up, saw us, and I went up to her and had an interpreter, and I started talking to her about a gardener that I know. The Jesus that I know, the one that's come into my heart, the soil of my heart and tilled up that rough ground. And anyway, I got a chance to really kind of speak to the gospel in that way. And at the end I said, Lechima, do you want to know this garden? Do you want to know Jesus? And she nodded and I said, well, let's pray together. And so got a chance to pray, and she received Jesus, and it was awesome. I was just so reminded that the gospel is good news everywhere. The gospel was good news that day. It's good news the next day. It's good news today, tomorrow. It's good news in the most remote places in the world, in the unreached people groups of India. It's good news in the inner city. It's good news in the big city, the small. It's good news, and all across the globe, it's bearing fruit. And so again, as we enter this holiday season, keep those missionaries and those leaders in your prayers, that God would till up the soil in the places that they're at, so that the seed of the gospel could be planted and it would bear fruit. It would bear a harvest that would blow our minds, and that He would receive the inheritance of every nation, people group, tribe, and tongue. And so again, church, let's do it. Let's be that place where we get to lift these missionaries up before the throne of God and see what He does. God bless you, and keep them in your prayers.